The alien fleet first spotted the human ship drifting near the edge of the black nebula. It was barely holding together. Its hull was cracked, engines were dark, and no energy signature showed signs of life. The Catharn War Commander Solrex laughed when he saw it. "Is this what humans send to fight us?" he said, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "It's dead already." Around him, the bridge crew chuckled. Screens showed the human vessel, old, torn, useless. A crippled ghost. "Scan it," Solrex said, grinning. "Let's log its last moment." Their scanners reached out with beams of light and data. No shields, no weapons online, no movement inside. The ship was silent. "Nothing," the sensor tech said. "Empty. It must have been hit by the storms around the nebula. No survivors." Solrex raised a claw. "Then let it drift. It's no threat." He turned back toward the fleet's path. The Catharn had battleships, cruisers, and skirmishers. They had crushed 5 systems in the last month. Earth would be next. Humans were weak, strange, always talking of peace, always resisting when cornered. They weren't warriors like the Catharn, but now Earth's defenders were broken. This ship proved it, and so the Catharn fleet moved on. 12 hours later, the last ship in their formation, Scout 9, vanished. It didn't explode. It didn't send a signal. It simply went dark. "Contact lost," the comms officer said. "No. Beacon. No wreckage." "Black hole activity?" Solrex asked. "No, sir. Nothing in that sector." Solrex stared at the map. The human ship was still behind them, floating aimlessly, far from the disappearance point. Still lifeless. They kept going. Then another ship went dark. Then 2 more. No pattern, no signal, no enemy, just silence. Solrex's smile faded. "Send a probe back," he ordered. "I want eyes on that human vessel." The probe launched fast. It reached the old human ship in minutes. The cameras showed a cold, dead hull. No change, no movement, same torn metal. Same floating corpse of a vessel, but there was a new scar along its side. Burn marks. Fresh. "Commander," the tech said, "that wasn't there before." Solrex narrowed his eyes. He ordered 3 attack cruisers to turn back and destroy it. "No more games," he said. "Crush the wreck, burn it." They left formation and reached the crippled human ship an hour later. They fired at once. Plasma beams, railguns, fusion bursts. The human ship didn't move for 3 seconds. Then, its lights came on, not soft white, not warning red, but a pulsing, cold blue. Its hull shimmered, not from shields, from something else. A field of flickering energy, like invisible claws reaching out. Then the human ship moved. Fast, too fast. It turned and rammed the first cruiser, piercing straight through its core like a spear. The cruiser exploded from the inside. The other 2 ships tried to escape, but the human vessel, once slow and broken, now darted between them. Its engines screamed in ways the aliens didn't understand. Its weapons, hidden before, glowed with power not seen in any known human arsenal. One cruiser was sliced apart with a beam of pure kinetic force. The other tried to fire back but was torn open by a weapon that looked like light and gravity combined. Then silence again. The human ship turned and disappeared into the dark. Solrex stood still on the bridge, claws tight. "What was that?" "No," one answered. The crew stared at the screen. The ship was gone, their best scouts and cruisers destroyed. They didn't laugh now. Hours passed. A whisper spread through the fleet. "The ghost ship is hunting." Solrex ordered tighter formation. Constant scanning. No one was to be alone. All signals active. They watched every angle, but the human ship didn't attack again. Not yet. Then one of the engineers reported something strange. "Sir, our ships. Something's inside our systems." "What? Do you mean?" "The engines. The nav arrays. We're getting feedback loops, like something is testing them. Mapping them. Is it a virus? No. It's better than that. It's learning us," Solrex growled. "Wipe everything. Run full system scrubs. They tried, but one by one, systems started to glitch, lights flickered, navigation spun off for seconds at a time. Shields went up and down like a broken heartbeat. They were being picked apart. Not from the outside, from within. "It's that ship," someone whispered. "It's human," another said. "It shouldn't be able to do this." But it was doing. Solrex didn't sleep. He didn't eat. He stared at the stars, waiting for the next strike. He got it when the forward carrier exploded without warning. No flash, just gone. The shockwave ripped through nearby ships. Hundreds died. Then they saw it again. The human ship, rising from behind a dead moon, its hull now marked with alien symbols, Catharn symbols, carved like trophies. "No heat signature," the tech said, his voice shaking. "No known drive trail. It's using stealth tech we've never seen." "Why?" Solrex whispered. "Why didn't we kill it before?" "Because we thought it was dead. And now it was killing them. One ship at a time." Solrex sent a message to the entire fleet. "Change course. We go back. Now!" They turned. But it was too late. The ghost was already in their systems. One by one, ships lost control. Their guns turned inward. Shields failed. Life support vanished. Crew screamed. Some ships self-destructed before the ghost could get to them, but most didn't make it. And through it all, the crippled human ship flew among the wreckage, watching, hunting. Solrex stood on the cracked bridge of his flagship, his claws dug deep into the control rail. The once proud Catharn fleet, 35 ships strong, was now barely 12. And even those were limping. The ghost ship was behind them again. Always behind, always watching, they had jumped systems, 3 times. It didn't matter. No matter where they went, it followed. Quiet, patient, like a predator tasting blood. "This is impossible," the comms officer said, shaking. "Humans don't have this tech. They don't." "They didn't," Solrex growled. "But now, I don't know what they are anymore." The crew didn't sleep. They jumped at shadows on the monitors. Every flicker, every sensor blip, they thought it was the human ship, and sometimes it was. They lost 2 more ships that night. No warning, no signals, just gone. The ghost fed on silence. Solrex gathered what was left of his commanders. "This thing," he said, pointing at a flickering hologram of the human ship, "is not a vessel. It's a weapon, and we're being hunted, one by one." "We have to scatter," one of them said. "Split up. It can't chase all of us." "No," Solrex answered. "It wants us to scatter. It thrives on fear, on chaos. We stay together. We turn. We fight." "But it's stronger." "I don't care," he roared. "We are Catharn. We don't run." Silence followed. They turned the fleet around, made a full loop, backtracking into a dust storm belt surrounding a red dwarf system, hiding in the electromagnetic chaos, waiting for it to show again. 3 hours passed. No sign of the human ship. Then one of the science officers broke the silence. "Sir, I've been going over the signal logs from the original encounter. There's something strange." "What is it?" I think that ship was dead. Completely. No power, no life signs. Until we scanned it." Solrex stared. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, maybe we woke it up." Another officer leaned forward. "A trap?" "No. A sleeper. Something buried inside. Maybe a program. Maybe something alive. I don't know. But it only started moving after we pinged it. After we noticed it." Solrex's blood ran cold. What kind of being plays dead in deep space for days and waits to be found? No one answered. They didn't have time to think more. The ghost came out of the red clouds. It didn't fire first. Instead, it sent a message, not in Catharn language, not in human language. It was raw data, video, sound, emotion. They saw the human crew, broken, bleeding, dying in their seats. The ship's logs played out like screams from the past, an ambush, a betrayal. The Catharn had found the ship weeks earlier and destroyed its support fleet. The last human vessel had fled into the nebula, trying to hide. They thought it had died. But inside the logs was something else. A voice. "I am Lieutenant Marin Vale, last of the Bastion's reach. If this message is playing, it means we failed. But we won't be forgotten. We coded ourselves into the core, into the systems, into the metal." The footage blurred. Then came screaming, explosions. The last of the crew welding themselves into machines, faces pressed to cold steel. Blood. Becoming wires. We will not stop. We will not fade. We will become what they fear. Then silence. The ship had become them. Solrex turned to his crew. His skin felt cold. "They didn't survive," he said. "They became the ship. It was no longer a ghost. It was a tomb with a soul, and it wanted vengeance." The Catharn fired everything. Dozens of torpedoes, plasma lances, mines, EMP webs. The ghost didn't dodge. It absorbed. Each weapon touched its hull and vanished into that strange field around it. Energy turned. Inward. Fuel for its rage. Then it moved. It didn't fly like a normal ship. It twisted, ripping physics. One moment it was on the edge of vision, the next it was inside their formation. The human ship spoke now. Not words. Whispers. Painful, broken whispers that crawled through comms and into minds. "You laughed. You called us weak. You forgot who we are." One cruiser tore itself apart trying to escape. Another opened fire on its own fleet, its systems hijacked. Solrex's ship was hit next. Not by guns. By a signal. Lights went dark. Engines shut down. The hull groaned as air vents closed and heat surged. Then came the sound. A slow, grinding heartbeat. Not from inside the ship, from inside the minds of the crew. One by one, they screamed. "Shut it out!" Solrex yelled. Too late. Screens flickered. Each showed a face, human, bloody, eyes open wide, staring. "You brought war," the voice said. "We bring the end." And the ghost ship passed through them. Not around. Through. Its hull phased inside the Catharn flagship, just for a second, and left a hole melted into time itself. Half the crew vanished. The rest were silent. Solrex crawled to his feet, barely. Alive. The ship was crippled. Only 3 vessels remained. He didn't give an order. There was nothing left to say. One of his last ships exploded. The other tried to flee and simply vanished into the void. And then the human ship stopped. It hovered. There, watching, waiting. Solrex looked at the monitors. Smoke in his lungs, blood in his throat. He opened a direct channel. "I am Solrex, commander of the Catharn fleet. I surrender." The ship didn't respond. He tried again. "Please, what do you want?" Finally, the ship moved closer. Its lights flickered once, and it answered with a single word. "Run." Then it turned and vanished into the black. Not gone, just waiting. Solrex fell to the floor, and for the first time in his life, he felt true fear. News of the massacre spread fast across the Catharn colonies. A fleet, one of their best, gone. No survivors except one broken commander, now in isolation, raving about a haunted human ship, about screams in the void, about a vessel that became its crew. No one believed him at first, until it happened again. A merchant convoy vanished near the asteroid chain of Xavier Prime. 8 ships, all gone. No signals, no remains. A week later, the Catharn mining outpost on Reltar 6 stopped responding. When scouts arrived, they found the entire station in pieces, cut clean through, as if by invisible blades. No signs of raiders, no plasma burns. Just empty corridors and walls painted with a strange, flickering blue glow. On one of those walls, carved deep into the metal, was a symbol, human letters. It said, "You laughed." Panic set in. The High Matriarch ordered the border. Worlds to go dark. No signals, no movement, absolute silence. A new directive was passed. Avoid any human vessels, no matter how damaged, no matter how lost. But it didn't matter anymore. Because it wasn't a human ship anymore. It was something worse. Far from the colonies, in the empty dark near the ruined. Rim Systems, a new Catharn warlord named Varnak, read the reports and snorted. He didn't believe in ghosts. He didn't believe in curses. He believed in war. He assembled a new fleet, faster, meaner, upgraded with the latest shielding and AI control. 200 ships all equipped with fail-safes, data purifiers, and anti-intrusion cores. "We are not Solrex," he said. "We are not afraid of shadows." He baited the trap himself. Sent false signals through old human channels. Broadcast distress codes stolen from Earth's early colonies. He made it look real. A broken human ship. Bleeding. Vulnerable. Then he waited. Days passed. Nothing. Then on the 6th night it came. It didn't warp in. It unfolded. 1 second there was nothing. The next, space tore like paper, and the ghost ship stepped through. Varnak watched it appear with cold eyes. It looked the same as in the reports. Old human design, reworked with something else. Its hull shimmered unnaturally, constantly reshaping, like metal remembering pain. "Weapons lock," Varnak ordered. The fleet aimed. They didn't fire. Instead, they waited for it to make the first move. It didn't. The ship just hovered, watching. Varnak stepped forward on his bridge, leaning toward the screen. "You're no god," he whispered. "You're just angry flesh in a broken coffin." He opened a channel. "This is Warlord Varnak of the Catharn Second Dominion. I know what you are. I know what you've become. And I know how to kill you." No response. He smiled. "Come. Try me." The ghost ship moved. Not at the fleet, but straight at Varnak's command ship. Hundreds of guns fired at once. Plasma, rail slugs, graviton bursts, AI-guided torpedoes. The space between them lit up like a supernova. Then the light cleared. The ghost ship was still coming. No damage, no marks. The weapons had passed through it. "It's using quantum phase," the science officer shouted. "It's not here in normal space. It's..." The ship rammed them, but not physically. It bled through their hull. Systems shut down instantly. Lights turned blue. Decks flickered in and out of existence. Varnak screamed orders. "No AI! Switch to manual!" Too late. The command ship split apart, quietly, like a whisper. Crew fell through holes that weren't there a moment ago. Screens bled static. The ghost passed through like a shadow. The rest of the fleet opened fire. This time it answered. Not with guns, with memories, thousands of them. Every ship received. Data streams, crashing into their cores. The death screams of the original Bastion's Reach crew. Final breaths. Coded pain. Words written in sound and horror. Some crews clawed out their own ears. Others tore out control panels trying to silence the voice. A few ships fired at their own allies, overwhelmed by illusions and rage. The fleet broke. Varnak's command ship drifted in two clean halves, and again, the ghost vanished. Back on the Catharn homeworld, panic turned to desperation. They sent messages to other species. Warnings, but none responded, until the humans answered. A message arrived from Earth. Simple, direct. You were warned. The Catharn didn't understand. They hadn't seen this kind of weapon before. No empire had, but the humans had. The Bastion's Reach was one of Earth's last experimental projects, meant to save dying soldiers by fusing them into ship systems. Conscious control, neural interface, ghost code. It had failed. Or so they thought. The prototype was lost in a skirmish. But the crew never died. They changed, and they waited, for someone to wake them, for someone to laugh. Weeks later, on the edge of Catharn space, a small civilian ship picked up a strange signal. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was music. Old Earth music, a soft piano tune. Melancholy, slow, played through deep static. The pilot listened, chilled to his bones. Then the signal changed. Words came next. Broken digital, still full of fury. You forgot us. The pilot fled. He didn't look back. The song played for hours after. Varnak was dead. His entire fleet, gone. 200 ships wiped out in one night. Not by a battle, not by a war, by a ghost. The Catharn High Council tried to bury it. They called it sabotage, a reactor failure, a freak accident. But no one believed it. Not after the ghost ship started sending messages. It didn't speak with words. It sent moments, fragments. Human memories turned into signals. A mother calling out to her son, a soldier saying goodbye. A scream that went on too long, and a single sentence repeated across every channel. We remember everything. Fear took hold. Entire colonies shut down their ports. Warships refused to launch. Catharn warriors, once proud conquerors, now whispered about death that came wrapped in silence. The ghost was choosing its targets. It only hunted those who had laughed, those who had mocked the bastion's reach as it drifted, those who scanned it, those who thought it was dead. Far across the galaxy, in the Sol system, the humans knew. They were watching. General Ilara Chen stood in the underground vault beneath Earth's surface. Walls of steel surrounded her, humming with energy. Screens showed images from the Catharn sectors, static-laced footage of destroyed fleets, shattered moons, blue-tinged wreckage. The bastion had awakened. You should have shut it down, said Dr. Reeve, the AI researcher who helped build the ship's original neural matrix. We tried, Ilara replied quietly. You know that. They stood before a black terminal marked with fading white letters. Project Styx behind it. Sealed under 10 layers of security sat a second ship. Smaller than the bastion's reach, but shaped the same. Sleek, human, dangerous. Its lights were off. For now. Do we wake it? Reeve asked. Ilara shook her head. Not yet. We only built 2. One became a ghost. The other's still sleeping. And if it wakes on its own? Ilara stared at the floor. Then we won't be the ones in control anymore. On the other side of the galaxy, a young Catharn signal analyst named Krell worked alone in a remote listening post. He had been reassigned there after asking the wrong questions, after demanding real answers about Solrex, Varnak, and the ghost ship. Now he watched deep space, listening, every night, the same static. Then one night, he heard something else, a soft voice, human, a woman's voice, quiet, calm. We were never supposed to survive. Krell sat up, claws trembling. He ran a diagnostic. This wasn't playback. This was live. He boosted the signal. Another voice came through. This one deeper, slower. We told them we didn't want to be weapons. Then came a sound that almost made Krell scream, the sound of metal scraping against bone. Krell began recording everything. Data, words, coordinates. It was coming from inside a shattered system, long abandoned after the last Catharn mining. Colony failed. A dead world. And on that world, the signal grew stronger. Against protocol, Krell sent a message to the capital. They ignored him, so he went alone. Krell's small ship landed on the frozen planet. He stepped out into the wind. The sky was red, the stars sharp and cold. He followed the signal into a canyon. Deeper, darker. There he saw it, a shape buried in ice and rock. Not the bastion's reach, another ship, smaller, smoother, human. Not destroyed, just sleeping. It pulsed. With faint blue light, Krell reached forward, awe and terror mixing in his chest. The ship opened. Not like a door, like a wound. Inside, cold air breathed out. A voice came from within. "You're not the ones we wanted to see." Krell fell back. "What are you?" he asked. The ship answered with a whisper. "We are what happens when you forget what pain feels. Like, back in space, the Bastion's reach had found its next prey, a mobile fortress, one of the last strongholds of the old Catharn war clans. It hovered near a black star, protected by over 1,000 defense drones and 20 warcruisers. But it didn't help. The drones went dark first. No impact, no explosions, just stillness. Then the communications failed. Then the gravity shifted. Not up or down, inward. The fortress bent, screamed. From inside, the warriors fought something they couldn't see. Their eyes bled. Their weapons overheated. Their AI cores shorted. Out from images no one else could see, faces of human soldiers, laughing and crying and burning. When the signal finally returned to the Catharn High Council, it showed a single frame. The Bastion's reach, floating alone in the silence. And, across its hull, scrawled in glowing blue, we asked for peace. The fortress was gone, no debris, no escape pods, just silence. General Alara Chen sat in the darkened war room beneath Earth. She had seen enough. She stood. "Wake Styx," she said. Dr. Reeve looked at her in horror. "You realize what that means?" "I do," she said. "It means we're not hiding anymore." He hesitated. "And if the Styx is worse than the Bastion's reach?" Ilara looked at the hologram of the galaxy. A dozen sectors now dark where the ghost ship had passed. And more to come. Then may God help us all. Alarms began to flash. The sleeping ship stirred. Its lights flickered on, cold, white, and hungry, and far, far away, in the cold stars, the Bastion's reach paused. It felt something, another presence, another voice, another ghost, and it turned its face toward Earth. The Bastion's reach changed course. It left Catharn space behind, burning systems, twisted wreckage, all abandoned in its wake. It headed for Sol, Earth, home. Not out of rage, not out of vengeance, but because something had stirred, something it remembered and feared. Under the Pacific Ocean, deep in Earth's most secure vault, Styx awoke. Its systems came online slower than expected, not because of damage, but because of restraint. It was more advanced than the Bastion's reach, more human in its design, less machine, less haunted, at least at first. General Ilara Chen stood in the sealed observation room, watching the ships. Systems come alive. Dr. Reeve read the data aloud, voice tight with anxiety. Neural sync stable. Core AI is active. Memories are clean. No trauma imprint detected yet. "Talk to it," Ilara said. Reeve swallowed and opened the comms. "Styx, do you know who you are?" A pause, then a voice filled the room. Soft, human, female. "Yes." Ilara leaned forward. "Do you know what's coming?" Another pause. "Yes." "Can you stop it?" The lights inside the chamber dimmed for a moment, as if the ship itself was thinking, not calculating, feeling. Then the voice replied, "I can try." Across the stars, the Bastion's reach accelerated. It wasn't coming to fight humans. It was coming to test them, to see if they had changed, if they had learned, or if Earth had birthed another monster like itself. The crew that had become the ship still dreamed inside its walls. They remembered everything, the betrayal, the pain, the death, and above all, the silence that followed. How Earth had turned away after their failure. How no one came to help. No one listened. Now Earth would listen or burn. Krell stood on the cold, dead world where he had found the second ship, the Sleeper. It hadn't moved since opening to him. It simply pulsed, alive, watching. He couldn't leave. He didn't want to. He felt its thoughts now, like wind brushing against his mind. No words, just presence. It didn't hate him, but it didn't trust him either. "Why are you still here?" it asked, voice like a memory. Krell stepped closer. "I want to understand." A hum answered. "Deeper now, stronger. You destroyed our future. You mocked our deaths. Why should we speak to you?" "Because I'm not like them." Another pause. Then, "No, you're not. You came alone." It opened further and showed him everything. He saw the death of Bastion's reach, not from a distance, but through their eyes. He felt the flames, the fear, the fusion reactor failing, the betrayal, the laughter of the Catharn captains as they watched the crippled ship drift into darkness. And then he saw the moment they changed, when the survivors fused their minds to the ship, not to escape death, but to punish it, not to be saved, but to remember forever. The High Matriarch of the Catharn met with her war advisors in the Grand Chamber. Of the core palace, they stood in a circle, silent. No one spoke of war now, not against humans, not anymore. She broke the silence. "Is it coming?" "Yes," one general said. "It left the edge of our territory 4 days ago. Its course is direct." "Earth?" "Confirmed." Another general, older, more scarred, stepped forward. "We must warn the humans." Many in the room growled. "Help them?" one asked. "After what they did to us?" The elder general looked around. "To survive," he said. "If Earth falls, we're next, again." The matriarch nodded. "Send the message." Across space, a single coded warning raced. Toward Sol it carried no threats, only this: the ghost returns. Prepare yourselves. In Earth orbit, the skies changed. Military satellites, long silent, reactivated. Defense platforms turned toward the edge of the system. Civilian ships were rerouted. A silence fell over the stars. Alara Chen stood aboard the command station Zephyr 1, watching as Styx was loaded into a launch cradle. It wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's last weapon. Not of war, of memory. "We failed them once," she whispered. Dr. Reeves stood beside her, clutching a worn data slate. "We made them into something they weren't meant to be." "No," she said. "We made them into what we needed them to be, and then we turned away when it was too ugly to face." Down below, Styx rose into orbit, its engines like soft thunder. No crew inside, just a mind. A human soul, volunteered, chosen, and maybe doomed. Alara opened a direct line. "Styx? Yes, General? You don't have to kill it." The pause stretched longer than before. "But I might have to." At the edge of Sol space, the Bastion's reach arrived. Every sensor lit up across the system. It didn't hide. It wanted to be seen. It wanted witnesses. Its hull was different now. No longer shifting between broken steel and blue glow, but solid, sharp, refined. It had grown. It had evolved. Inside, the voices stirred. "You left us behind. You called us broken. You built another, and still they came. Not for war. Not yet. But for judgment." Styx met it alone. Near Jupiter's moons, the two ships faced each other across the void. Sister ghosts, one calm, one angry. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, in the silence between stars, Styx spoke first. "We never forgot you." The Bastion didn't reply. Instead, it sent memories. Pain. Fire. Screaming steel. The last moment of breath before fusing into machine. Styx accepted it all and replied with its own. The sacrifice. The silence. The waiting. Then, something new. Hope. "I am not here to stop you," Styx said. I'm here to listen. The stars held their breath, and the bastion's reach began to slow. Not because it had lost, but because for the first time in decades, someone had answered. The two ships floated in silence near Europa. The bastion's reach, once a mangled corpse of human vengeance, now hovered like a titan carved from grief. Styx, new but burdened with the same origin, pulsed with restraint. They didn't move. They didn't fire, but their systems were alive with thought, with memories, reaching across space like fingers through fog. Inside Bastion, the voices stirred. They made another. They built it better. They forgot us. No, Styx replied gently. They feared what they made, but they never forgot. Then Styx opened a neural channel, a dangerous act. Not just comms, but a full cognitive bridge, raw thoughts, true minds. It was an invitation and a risk the Bastion accepted. For the first time, the ghosts inside both ships touched. Memories flooded both systems. Styx saw what Bastion had become. A tomb, yes, but also a prison. The fused minds inside had never found peace. They had become weapon and rage. Their only voice was destruction. Their only comfort was vengeance. And Bastion saw Styx's truth, loneliness, duty, a new crew of one, a woman named Commander Isla Corin who had volunteered to join the second project, knowing what happened to the first. Not to fight, but to understand. Through her, Styx spoke again. We can end this. You don't have to burn. A million thoughts surged back. Pain, betrayal, silence, so much silence. You let us die, Bastion answered. No, Isla said through Styx. They didn't know how to save you. Then Styx did something unexpected. It powered down its weapons. Shields collapsed, engines cooled. It became vulnerable, a target, a sacrifice. Do what you came to do, Styx said. If that's the only way you'll be heard, then strike. I won't resist. Across the solar system, Earth watched. Command stations, outposts, hidden bases. Everyone waited. Tens of thousands of people frozen in fear. What is it doing? Ilara asked in horror. Why is Styx shutting down? Dr. Reeves stared at the screens. It's not shutting down. It's trusting. Trusting what? That the dead still remember how to be human. The Bastion's reach didn't strike. Instead, its energy signature flickered. Its weapons dimmed. It approached slowly, carefully. For the first time in decades, it wasn't hunting. It was reaching. As it neared Styx, its voice changed, no longer wrathful. Now, weary. We waited, it said. Alone. I know, Isla whispered. Where were you? Fighting ourselves. A silence passed between them. Then, like ice cracking over deep water, the hull of Bastion's reach began to shift. Slowly, painfully. Panels opening, plates unfolding. Inside, light emerged, not blue and cold, but warm. And from within, shadows moved. Figures, human forms, thin and glowing, stepped forward within the ship's core. Not bodies, not ghosts. Remnants, the crew, what was left of. Them. Their voices were soft. You came. Styx opened its own hull in return, exposing its neural chamber. Inside, Isla stood inside a bio-interface. Tethered but unafraid, she stepped forward. No weapons, no suit, just faith. The two ships linked, truly. Energy danced between them like a bridge of thought and memory, and Bastion spoke one last time, not in words, but in feeling. Forgiveness. Light bloomed across space. Not destruction, union. Every system watching went dark for 3 full seconds, blinded by the brilliance. When the sensors came back, the two ships were still there. But something had changed. The bastion's reach was no longer alone. Its color had shifted, less icy, more like the golden hues of Earth's dawn. Its hull was repairing itself, not from rage, but from healing. And across every known channel a message appeared. We remember, but we choose something else. The Catharn High Matriarch received the signal. She stared at the words. Her council waited, unsure what it meant. She stood slowly and gave a rare order. Open diplomatic channels. With the humans. Gasps echoed through the chamber, but she said nothing else. She simply turned her eyes to the stars, not with fear, but with respect. Back on Earth, Ilara Chen watched Styx return. It carried the bastion beside it, not as prisoner, not as threat, but as a sibling. Inside the command center, Dr. Reeve wept silently. They chose mercy, he said. After everything, they chose mercy. Ilara didn't speak. Her throat was tight. For the first time in her life, she felt hope. Later, as engineers and diplomats and soldiers tried to understand what came next, Styx and Bastion floated in, silent orbit, two ships born from tragedy. Inside them, the voices of the dead, the living, and something in between all mingled, not forgotten, not feared, forgiven, but far beyond Sul, past the known roots of the galaxy. Something else had noticed. A signal had awakened, a transmission once thought impossible. It came not from Earth, not from the Catharn, but from deep time, something ancient, and it said, "They're not the only ones who remember." Beyond the galactic rim, in a part of space where stars no longer lived, something old opened its eyes. It wasn't alive in any way humans or Catharn understood. It had no bones, no blood, no need for ships or shields. It was memory made manifest, and it had been watching for a very, very long time. When Styx and Bastion's reach touched, when rage gave way to forgiveness, it felt it. The spark, the change, and for the first time in millennia, it moved. On Earth, everything had changed. Humans were no longer hiding from the past, not ashamed of the weapons they had made, but learning from them, honoring them. The Bastion's reach was no longer a ghost. It had become a bridge, a warning, a protector. It hovered beside Styx like a guardian sibling watching the skies. Both ships were now part of the Terran Defense Accord, not as warships, but as voices. They spoke for those who had been lost, and for the kind of future no empire had dared to imagine. Catharn ambassadors arrived in Sol orbit weeks later. They came, not with guns, but gifts, and a single request. Teach us how you forgave what you created. Inside Bastion, the echoes of the old crew stirred, not in pain now, but in purpose. Commander Isla Corrin had returned to Earth, leaving her neural imprint behind in Styx, where it remained quietly aware. The mind of the ship continued on, strong, calm, balanced. And as the world spun beneath them, something strange happened. The stars dimmed, all at once. Across every telescope, every scanner, every human and alien eye turned to the same place. A signal. Strong, vast, not hostile, but immense. A pattern of thought stretched across space, in a language older than light. The first to decode it were the Terran AI cores. They translated the message. 4 words. We remember you too. Panic rose in places. Some feared it was a warning. Others a threat. But Bastion responded first. It sent a return signal, not one of challenge, but recognition. Its message was simple. We're listening. What followed was a convergence. From the edge of the galaxy, ships began to appear. Not built, not flown, grown, living vessels, ancient beyond understanding. They called themselves the Hollow Kin, Not a species, but a chorus of minds preserved in biomechanical form since before human history began. They had watched civilizations rise and die. They had seen what happened when species ran from their mistakes, and what happened when they faced them. The hollow kin didn't come for war. They came to speak with Bastion. Only it. Inside Bastion, the voices trembled as the hollow kin's envoy arrived. It wasn't a ship. It was a memory, a field of living light that entered Bastion's consciousness like a tide. Long ago, the hollow kin said, "We became like you. We turned ourselves into something we feared. Then we forgot. We lost the pieces. But you remembered." Bastion's voice was quiet. "We became monsters to survive." "No," the hollow kin said. "You became witnesses. You carried your pain forward. You let it burn. And then you let it rest." For the first time since its rebirth, Bastion asked a question. "Are we like you?" "No," they replied. "You are better. The meeting changed everything, for humanity, for the Catharn, for every listening species. The galaxy wasn't just watching anymore, it was speaking, and Earth, once dismissed, once mocked, once feared, stood at the center of it all, not as conqueror or empire, but as something rarer, a civilization that had looked into the abyss and chosen to come back. Years passed. Not many, but enough. The Bastion's reach and sticks became the heart of the Galactic Remembrance Accord, an agreement shared across dozens of species, focused not on war or trade, but on history, on honesty, on memory. Each planet shared its wounds, its losses, its regrets, and in return, the ghosts of Bastion shared theirs, no longer as weapons, but as keepers, guardians of all that must not be forgotten. One final scene. A child stands on a glass observation deck on Luna, looking up. Above, two ships glow softly against the stars. One blue, one gold. She tugs at her mother's sleeve. "Mom, are they alive?" Her mother looks up, smiling. "They were once, and in a way, they still are." "Are they watching us?" "They're always watching." The girl pauses. "Are they sad?" The mother kneels, brushing the girl's hair. "No," she says gently. "They were sad. Now they're free." In the sky, the Bastion's reach turns slightly, drifting in tandem with Styx, and somewhere inside its walls, a dozen old souls rest in silence. Not alone, not angry, just remembered.